Hi everyone, it's probably been about 4 months almost since I last made a video. I've been thinking this might actually be the last one that I make. I'm not too sure. Quite a lot's happened in the last 4 months, and particularly the last month or so. At the end of March, I went back to the National to see the neurologist as a routine checkup, and different neurologists again, never see the same person twice. There seems to be absolutely no consistency in terms of care. He really just wanted to reiterate their view that my problems are psychogenic rather than neurogenic. That is, that I have conversion disorder. I said to him, well, what's the point of me coming here, because he wasn't even going to bother with a neuro examination, and he did a cursory one, but he just reiterated, said there was no change. How could he say there was no change when he'd never met me before? He only met me 3 minutes before, and this is the thing, that you're bashing your head against the wall. Anyhow, so that was an absolute waste of time. I came away from there feeling really, as usual, they make you feel worthless, as if you're lying, and the whole process is so dehumanising, really. And I was really cross for a couple of days, really angry that I've been sort of let down so badly. And in the end, I thought, right, well, if this is not real, if it's all in my head, then I can go out without my stick, and I will be able to walk okay and have no problems. And if I fall, and perhaps I'll take some notice. And anyhow, I did do this. I went out and I walked for a couple of miles, and I was fine. And I started to really think, well, perhaps what they've been telling me all this time is wrong. Perhaps it is all in my head, and my down to wrong illness beliefs. Perhaps when I had the initial illness, I just kept it going from some sort of self-suggestion, and I talked myself into being ill. Anyhow, of course, I have had these remissions before, which I'd sort of forgotten about. And for a couple of days, 3 days, I was pretty well. One day, I even dug up the vegetable patch and walked a couple of miles every day. One day I walked 6 miles without any problems, and then on the Wednesday I came home from the speech and language therapist and thought, well, I'll clean the windows. We've got a bungalow, so there was no climbing, and I noticed a couple of times that I nearly fell, and I thought, well, this is just me doing things too quick. So I went out in the afternoon from my walk, probably about 2 miles, and halfway back I started to drift to my right, and that's always been more of a problem with my right side than my left, and my arms swing a gone again, especially on my right. And I thought, I know something's going on, but I kept saying, no, be positive. And I honestly did think I understood what had been going on in the first place. But by the time I got home, I was struggling to walk and having to find things to hold on to. So that was the end of that. Over the next few weeks, for the next 3 weeks, I had moments when I was walking normally, and moments when I wasn't. Even when I was well, I still had this sensation that someone had smacked me around the face and was driving something into the side of my head. So it wasn't as if I was completely clear. Excuse the cuckoo clock. So it wasn't as if it was that all my symptoms had gone. It's just that my walking and speech was back to normal. Anyhow, by about 2 weeks ago at the weekend, I was having one involuntary movement after another. Sort of, I'll demonstrate sort of like that very, very quickly, and would get one after another, and this happened for about 4 days, and I felt punch drunk all the time. And so by this time I realised definitely that I talked myself into thinking I was getting well when actually I wasn't. And then on Monday I had to go and see the neuropsychiatrist at the National, which was an experience in itself. Same. There was a team of an occupational therapist, a physio, a cognitive behavioural therapist, and a neuropsychiatrist. And they were going to assess me to see whether I was suitable to be admitted for 4 weeks into the National for intensive therapy. But they decided anyhow that they wouldn't do it at the moment because of the recent bereavement, and they felt it would be too soon. And to be quite honest, I've heard enough about the National's treatment for conversion disorder to know that I don't want to be there. But one thing I want to say to all of those of you who have ME, when you're told that get and that they believe that you've got a physical condition, don't believe them, because the treatment for conversion disorder is, here it comes, graded exercise therapy and cognitive behavioural therapy. And the National, I know, doesn't believe that ME is a physical problem. They believe that it's a somatisation. It's a functional illness, psychological. So don't ever believe that nonsense that they think it is physical, because they don't. That's a load of rubbish. So anyhow, they've decided that I've just had a letter today they're very quick getting it out, from the neuropsychiatrist, and what they're basically proposing with me at this time is they want to review me in a year, but they want me to have my doctor to organise some bereavement counselling locally. Well, I'm quite happy for that, although I feel I'm doing okay with the losing David. I think talking to someone outside of the family could actually be beneficial. They want to put in locally at this point of time physio and occupational therapy, and again, I'm not totally opposed to that. Physio to maintain what I've got and increase it wouldn't be necessarily a bad thing. I'm willing to give it a try. And to see another neuropsychiatrist who was at London National and has just moved in, and I've looked online at some of his papers, and his basic study is in neuroimaging, functional imaging of the brain, and so he doesn't appear to consider functional problems or psychological problems as being purely to do with thought, but also to do with physical aspects of the brain. So he might be of use for me seeing. But anyhow, I've been wondering perhaps the whole ME thing was right in the first place. I suppose the thing that's always made me a little unsure of that is because it's not really to do with a lack of energy for me. And everyone I hear talk about their ME talks about a lack of energy. And I don't know anyone who has quite the same sort of very violent and voluntary movements that I have. And you see, my walking isn't really that my legs become tired, they just become very stiff. So I haven't been completely convinced, but it might be that. But I think I've come to a point now where I couldn't care. I can't go any further in terms of the neurologists and the doctor, and I might just as well try to get the best quality out of my life and stop hunting for answers. Of course, it doesn't make the symptoms go away, but I just need to try to get on with my life the best I possibly can with the limitations that my illness puts upon me. So that's where I'm at. I'm not sure, as I say, whether I should make any more videos. I'm not sure that they do a lot of good, and I'm not sure really that I've got anything else to say, because I think I've said it all. If something happens and somewhere along the line someone does finally give me an answer as to what's happening, or I find some treatment that works or whatever, then I will make another video, but at this point in time it seems to me to be pointless. I want to thank everyone who does watch my videos and follows me, and those that have written to me. I know I've been very bad about responding to people. Sometimes my head just feels so it's just so difficult to even think, let alone put things together, that I think I'll do it later, and then it gets forgotten, then it goes down and down in my email box and it gets forgotten. So please accept my apologies if you've written and I've never contacted you. So that's it for now, and I shall sign off and possibly talk to you again, but I think it's probably quite unlikely. So bye.